Hi everyone. After 10 years of waiting, we've finally got a proper minifigure inclusive Lord of the Rings set. So this is set number, what's the set number? 10316, and this is the UCS set of Lord of the Rings. I'm joking, of course, but this is called Lord of the Rings Rivendell. Well, with a lot of us has probably seen the leaked images, so we're not too surprised by the overall shaping and stuff, but it's still nice to get a good look at all the amazing details of this set. I mean, honestly, as a huge Lord of the Rings fan, I was always willing to buy Lord of the Rings sets, no matter how good or bad they are. But this set is obviously leaps and bounds ahead of anything that Lego's done before in the Lord of the Rings theme. But of course, in terms of price, this is also pretty staggering set as well. But of course, it comes with 6,167 pieces. So making it probably one of the top 10 sets in Lego, maybe in terms of piece counts. I don't know, because Lego has released a lot of really big sets over the past few years. There are 15 minifigures, but this number is deceptive as there are actually more minifigure parts than 15. So, but let's take a quick look at the box art first. I think it's absolutely gorgeous to have Rivendell set in a black undertone, because in a black box art, because that really creates that contrast between the colors in the Rivendell build as well as the the darker box art. But of course, we're not really buying this for the box. We're buying this for the underlying product. So let's do a quick 360. So let me refer back to the dimension of this set. So it has a height of 16 inches or 39 centimeters. Okay, that's fine. And then we have a width of 30 inches or 75 centimeters, and then obviously a depth of 50 centimeters or 20 inches. So I'm not sure how they calculate the depth though. Like, I really don't see 50 centimeters of depth here, like half a meter of depth. Certainly not from here. This looks like probably a single base plate at most of width. So maybe they're so measuring the depth from this side, and of course that could be a little bit misleading. Yeah, but this is a massive set. This is actually probably bigger than the Lion Knight's castle, at least in terms of width, although it doesn't seem to me to be as much stuff here as the piece count would suggest, honestly. Like, if you compare this to an Ninjago City Gardens, for instance, which probably has fewer pieces than this thing, but has like 4 floors, you think that this set should have been larger in terms of size, given the piece count. But now, as you can see, right, let's take a closer look from let's take a look from the heat first. So you can reenact the bridge scene between Aragorn and Arwen, and then there are also some other random elf minifigures, and then obviously there's Gimli, there's Bilbo and stuff. But we'll go through the minifigures later. But there's also, interestingly, there's also Aragorn's mom here. No, of course, this is a statue, not necessarily. Is it? Well, no, it's probably not Aragorn's. Not supposed to be Aragorn's mom though. Probably just that particular statue that has the sword of Narsil. But anyways, so we can get a better angle of everything. I think it's probably meant to be modular as well, so you can sort of rearrange stuff a little bit. I'm not sure how modular, how customizable this is actually going to be, but I think there's definitely an option. Certainly from this angle, you can see that it's a little bit like that Monkey Kids Secret Team Hideout sort of set, in which you can just sort of combine and think. In fact, the shaping of this set does look a little bit like that Monkey Kids set. So you might probably want to check it out if you want to get a better idea of what it's probably going to look like. But in terms of size, this looks pretty good, right? It's not like the good thing, right? Let me say the good thing. Beside the price, it is probably easier for most people to buy it, because when you're talking about 400 something pounds or $500 sets, we're usually looking at something that's super massive, like a UCS. Okay, yeah, the Millennium Falcon is obviously much more expensive and larger than this set, but at least in terms of size, it's not always good to have really large sets, especially over the past few years. Lego have been releasing so many really large sets that just don't do too much beside being super massive. But I think this set would do a lot, right? Especially with all the foliages and to create that texture of richness. Yeah, I do like the fact that a lot of these sections can be separately displayed. It almost feels like you're buying multiple copies of sets, multiple different sets that you can sort of configure by yourself. I still would like to treat this as Aragon's mom, but that's just me. But I don't think this is what it's supposed to be. But at least you have that sword, you have that broken sword, which is great. And then you can reenact a lot of those scenes here. So this is probably a reenactment of reforging that sword. So I think this is movie accurate as well in terms of at least the shaping of the location of the scene. And then, of course, this is the meeting between, all the various races in Middle-earth to discuss the fate of the One Ring. And again, having watched the movie like for 100 times, I think this is accurate. I can say this is accurate for the most part. Maybe not brick by brick or something, but and then you have the bed as well, which Bilbo recovers and is visited by his friends after his quite stressful journey running away from the Nazguls. And I'm very delighted to learn that they are actually going to make mid-lakes for the hobbits. I mean, I was really worried that they would just use the child lakes for them. So yeah, we have Gandalf, great. And then there's also spots in which Bilbo was writing his book as well. So that's pretty nice. So yeah, I would say that this is not so much Rivendell as maybe part of Elrond's house, Elrond's meeting halls or something like that. So that's a problem when you have a set that is minifigure compatible, is that you're not going to create the whole Rivendell amazing, beautiful, picturesque scene. You're going to make a section of it, and that section is not going to be complete because that's just how it is. But yeah, I mean, this is just absolutely gorgeous, and it makes me very happy as a Lord of the Rings fan to have this sort of thing available in markets, even though I may not be able to get it because it's just too expensive, and it does consume quite a bit of space. Let's be real here. This is not something that's regular folk could afford, especially during these times. Okay, so let's take a good look at the minifigures. Again, I'm looking at this from the first time, so I'm making a lot of assumptions and errors and such, but I'm just trying to look at it from a Lego fan as well as a Lord of the Rings fan, both the books and the movies. So first of all, let me point out how disappointed I am with the Arwen minifigure. This is just a disgrace. They should have done a new face print. There's no there's no way around this. I mean, are you kidding me, Lego? This Arwen face print needs to be unique. This is one of the most important, most iconic character in the movies, at least. Maybe not so much in the books. So you're doing fans a disservice by reusing face prints. This is probably the same face print that was used in Shang-Chi, right? I'm not sure if the Aragon minifigure has an exclusive face print. They probably reused the one from 10 years ago, which is not great, but it is acceptable. But now I'm not sure if Arwen's face was the same as 10 years ago, but it's certainly no longer applicable to 2023. So Lego really needs to do better than that, especially when they're charging £430 for this thing. I mean, seriously, no way. But yeah, that's probably all I have in terms of negatives about the minifigures. Others are fine. Actually, in fact, I actually think these two sort of generic elf minifigures are actually more interesting because at least they have something different, right? They have okay, maybe this face print is also from Shang-Chi. I'm not sure. But at least they look okay. This is probably Hermione. So yeah, there are a lot of reuses, right? Yeah, I'm not happy with that. Elrond looks fantastic. Gandalf the Grey understandably looks like you know, Dumbledore. That's fine. And then we have Bilbo Baggins, who has that really scary face when he was trying to snatch the ring from Frodo, during that particular scene. If you watch the movie, you know. And then that really scared the hell out of me when I was a child. And then you have all the hobbits, all four of them. Merry, Pippin. Okay, maybe this is Sam. And then we have Merry and Pippin, and then obviously Frodo with Boromir. I think the height difference is really cute, but at the same time, yeah, very appropriate. With Legolas, we have Aragorn, we have Arwen, the most disappointing character by far. I love the hairpiece, by the way. The hairpiece, I think they're new and they're great. They're an upgrade to existing modes. And then Gimli, I think it's probably the same Gimli. Maybe the hair is a little bit different. And then who's this guy? Maybe I think it's Gimli's father, right? I think so, probably. Or maybe uncle or something. I don't exactly remember who appeared in that scene, but it's either his father or uncle or something like that. I just don't remember that particular thing, because obviously in that scene, it's all about the elves and the hobbits, and maybe to quite a large extent Boromir as well because of the memes. Anyways, so yeah, I think you can get a pretty good idea how big this actually going to be. Maybe some everyday objects, like a regular book or something, and you can see it really is not that large, right? There are only 2 floors. It's not tall. It's definitely not tall. It's wide though, and I don't know now. I think it's probably time to talk about value, but maybe just take a quick look at the description to see whether we've missed anything. Probably not. Yeah, I mean, we've covered all. Oh, yeah, there's something else that we need to mention, right? Yes, the minifigures. They're actually more than 15 minifigures, because as you can see from the first picture, there are actually a few more, at least now, including the lady holding the Narsil. There are actually 5 extra minifigures, at least. I don't know if there's another one creeping somewhere there. Maybe there's one extra. Let's say 6 or 5. No, I can only see 5. So there are actually a total of 20, at least 20 minifigures. So yeah, I mean, that is probably the minimum requirement for something that expensive, right? But you never know, especially with these days with Lego. And so yeah, in terms of value, let me be real here. Despite my being a fan, like a huge fan of Lord of the Rings, Lego Lord of the Rings, and Lego in general, I have to say the price is absolutely atrocious. It is way too expensive. No way. £430, $500, no way. I'd rather buy a UCS set, honestly. At least it's more complete. Now, the problem with this Rivendell set is that it's not complete. It's simply not complete as a Lego set, as a Lego building location set. Now, it doesn't look half bad at all, because it is, Rivendell is a pretty open space. It is, if you've seen the movies, now this is obviously the movie rendition, the Peter Jackson movie rendition of Lord of the Rings Rivendell. So this is a very open space, because obviously the elves, they like to live in nature, they like to be part of nature. So everything is, they're not exactly meant to be completely closed up or anything. Especially this is a house, not the fortification. Well, it's the fortification, but it's not exactly a castle per se. But if you can buy a Lion Knight's castle, a fully closable, fully sealable Lion Knight's castle at a significantly lower price than the Rivendell, why wouldn't you go for the Lion Knight's castle is the question. I think in terms of value proposition, I just don't think discuss it. Now, the number of pieces in this case is especially irrelevant, because you can see the root pieces probably accounted for 1,000, at least 1,000 pieces. Now, I'm not talking about only these roof sections, but also, the roofs in general, all the ornaments and, the ceiling stuff. And of course, this section also takes up quite a lot of pieces as well. This is obviously 6,000 pieces. No question about that, more than 6,000 pieces, but it doesn't seem like 6,000 pieces. In fact, it feels like 3,000 pieces. And that's the problem with price per piece ratio, because on paper, this is fantastic value, right? Not as good as, let's say, a Ninjago City Gardens, but it's way up, right up there. But as you can see, this is not a huge set. Yeah, maybe 50 centimeters depth is it's pretty stunning, right? But it doesn't feel like it. I don't think it is like it. I think it will look bigger when if and when I see it in person. But I just don't see that. I just don't see the value of £430. I have to say it, even as someone who loves the Lord of the Rings series, have loved the Lord of the Rings series for more than 20 years. I have to say, this is not worth it. I do hope Lego offered a discount at some point, because I really want this set. I really want to think about owning this set, even if I don't end up getting it, because this is so freaking expensive, right? But ultimately, it's just not worth it. I have to say it. There's not much new stuff here, to be honest, other than some of the also. Oh, by the way, just points out the decoration as well. They're pretty good, right? This is probably Gondolin, right? This is probably a representation of Gondolin. I don't think this is Minas Tirith. It doesn't look too much like Minas Tirith. Not enough like the movie rendition of Minas Tirith. Of course, you can make the argument, and then this is probably. I'm not sure what this is supposed to be about. Yeah, we'll have to take a closer look at that at some point. But yeah, okay. Back to value. I just don't think this is worth the price, because this is not even a complete sort of House of Elrond sort of build. It's just half of it. For obvious reason, because you have to be very detailed with all this stuff, and you want to make it interesting by making it a little bit less symmetrical, which I can understand, but at the same time means I'm just not very comfortable, and I'm sure a lot of people agree, about throwing in $500 into this set. I like the fact that it's not prohibitively massive for collectors like me who do not have a lot of space. But still, I mean, I appreciate the fact that it doesn't take a lot of space, but correspondingly, the price should be lower. That's just as simple as that. It looks absolutely gorgeous, especially from afar. This is certainly something that will capture your eyes. The moment you walk in and see this, it'll be like, oh, whoa, what is this? This looks absolutely gorgeous. What is this? And of course, with all those group pieces, you can create your own, maybe your own shapes and stuff. You don't necessarily have to follow this. Of course, you want to be movie accurate, then go for it. But maybe you can create some interesting sort of dot-like designs here as well. I like that. This is why Lego is so attractive as a medium, because you can do all sort of customization. You have the freedom to do that, and the freedom itself is very refreshing. And by the way, I'm sorry about being quite scattergun in this sort of quick look. The tree. This tree in particular, this really impresses me. I wonder why they don't use a similar design for the A-frame cabin. I mean, this could work. This could work much better than, much closer to the original design. I mean, obviously they went for something like this, right? But they could have done something like this. I don't know why they didn't do that, because it looks appropriate. It looks gorgeous. Maybe it's because of the piece count. Certainly this tree is probably like 300 and 400 worth of pieces. This particular build alone probably is like 400 pieces. So yeah, I don't know what's on about that, but yeah, again, not too much new stuff here. It's what I'm talking. I think the good thing is that everything is accessible. You can really you can take real pictures of the inside of this thing, but I would very, very much appreciate if this was a closed up space, or at least have the option of being completely closed up. Maybe the modularity would help. Maybe the customizability, the whole that will help sort of close up the thing. I don't know. I mean, we'll probably have to get it in hand to see how it works, but maybe it's because they have to include this sort of outdoorsy space that they cannot have a fully sealed up building. But at this price point, £430 or $500, I think, well, that should have been like that should have been like completely sealed up. It has to be, right? A modular building is not nearly as expensive as this thing. So yeah, I mean, I think I have mixed feelings about this set overall. I spent a lot of time on this. On one hand, I'm so glad they're doing another Lord of the Rings set, and I really hope this set does well, so that they would release more affordable, especially more affordable Lord of the Rings sets down the line. But I like everything artistically about this set. Maybe apart from the fully opened back design. I don't think that was a nice compromise. In terms of minifigures, again, it's a mixed bag. I think they've done, it's probably like, I'll give it 80%, because maybe at least 15 points were deducted for the Arwen minifigure. And indeed, the whole reuse of face prints in general, I just think this is shameful. They could have done so much better, and they didn't. And then in terms of new parts, there are some new parts for sure. Some recoloring, some very inventive use of parts. But ultimately, the price is just way too much, despite the piece count. So, yeah, do let me know what you think about this set. I personally, I like the set, but I'm struggling to convince myself that this is worth consideration. And I think that the same goes for other people as well, many other people as well. I mean, you're talking about 400 something pounds worth of investment. Are you going to get the same level of happiness from it? Probably not. Personally, if I were to price this set, I'll price it at 300. It'll be tremendous value. I mean, just from a purely Lego set point of view. I understand this is licensed, so maybe that's why the price is way up there. But maybe 350 is probably the most that I'm going to condone, not even allow. I think I will condone £350 as the starting price, and then we can talk about discounts and stuff and so on. But 430, way too much. No way. I'm sorry. Even as a diehard Lego fan, diehard Lego Lord of the Rings fan, diehard Lord of the Rings fan, no way. I cannot. I just cannot stomach this. I just find it unacceptable. I know you. There's always a way to convince yourself to buy it, especially if you are such a huge fan. But I just think it's going to be a ripoff, and no matter how I look at it, it's a ripoff. It's beautiful and all that, but just no. I mean, my Monkey Kids sort of secret hideout set is only like £90, and it pretty much serves the same purpose. It has 2 stories of building. It has quite a bit of space for display minifigures for play and so on. Maybe not so much reenactment of movie scenes, but I don't think a lot of people genuinely care for that as much as to pay an extra £200 and £300. So I think that's where I stand. But let's take a quick spin. I'm sure it will be a great display for yeah, and of course you can do modification to make this, to turn this into a fully sealed building. I'm sure there are a lot of geniuses out there who'll be able to do that. But yeah, and yeah, okay, this painting is absolutely amazing, right? Oh, is there another angle to look at that painting? That painting was the one that in which Isildur cuts off Sauron's fingers, right? It cuts off the ring, right? That's the picture. I think that's the picture from here. Yeah, that one, right? This is the Sauron picture. So yeah, there are a lot of Easter eggs in here, I'm sure. And the whole artistic design is just absolutely amazing. But this is half a building, and you're charging us £430. Just no way. I'm sorry, no way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, yeah. So there are a total of 6. So that brings us a total of 21 minifigures, at least, right? We haven't included some of them that might be hidden somewhere. So yeah, I think that's where we're at. But this video is long enough, so I'm excited. I hope enough people will be excited so that the Lord of the Rings theme can continue. But thank you very much for watching, and I'll talk to you again very soon.